Hello and welcome to all our audience joining us from Indonesia, Singapore, US and India. It's a pleasure to have you on board where we discuss a very important topic, the omni-channel commerce in a post-pandemic world. And if you see in the last few months, digital commerce has become a key focus area for many organizations. And when offline businesses were shut down and organizations were forced to move to digital channels, either by launching new ventures or increasing their already existing online endeavors. And this includes virtual assistants. Today we have with us three companies who are pursuing digital commerce powered by Yellow Messenger platform as a key way to gain customers, accelerate their existing digital commerce business, and also develop deeper relationships with their clients amidst COVID. Welcome to the webinar. We have people from Domino's Indonesia, Warung Pintar and Zenyum to be talking about omni-channel commerce in a post-pandemic world and their experience and their learnings over the last 6 to 8 months. So I welcome to the webinar our key panelists, which is Anton, and Janik and Mayank. Welcome to the webinar.
Hey, thank you. Hello and namaste to everyone.
Hey, so if we can have a round of introduction about you, your role and the company, that'll be great. So maybe we have three people here. We can go in alphabetic order. So Anton, would you like to introduce yourself and the company?
Yeah, so my name is Anton. Currently, I work at Warung Pintar. It's the e-commerce that B2B e-commerce that tackles the supply chain solution for Warung. Warung means the mom and pop stores in Indonesia. Yeah, hello everyone.
Great, thanks Anton. Janik?
Hey, yeah, I'm Janik from Zenyum. We are delivering smart cosmetics products and we are trying to make generally the dental category a bit more exciting and especially more convenient. That's why we started out selling invisible braces, which is more long-term sales process, and now also moving into other products, for instance, toothbrush or also whitening. So yeah, and my role there is I mainly took care of the CRM and now especially marketing related, so marketing platform and chat platform related topics.
Great, thanks for the introduction, Janik. And Mayank's brand, I think, is loved and probably eaten by a lot of people last night. So he's from Domino. So Mayank, a quick introduction from your side.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Mayank Singh. I work for Domino's Pizza Indonesia, as you rightly mentioned. And my role here is to take care of marketing, technology, and digital business. Prior to this, I have been also associated with Domino's India, known for setting up the e-commerce for Domino's India. And I had a huge experience in the media business side. So worked with the huge media groups of India, which is NDTV, Times, and the Entertainment. So that's my introduction.
Great. So today we have brands from various, various fields. So, one in the dental and oral healthcare sector, one in food category, and the other one in sort of enabling small and medium businesses to really scale up amidst COVID. So if you see that, all three businesses are really distinct from each other. But when you look at a customer or the scenario that we're all in today, what are some of the core commonalities that you must have faced, or the core challenges that each one of you faced, and let's see if there are some things in common there.
Shall I go first?
Yeah, sure. Anybody can start. Sure.
Yeah. So pandemic was an unfortunate thing that happened to the world, and it's not just the business, even the people were the ones who got affected. And in correlation, it impacted to the business as well. So when this pandemic occurred, the first thing happened was the lockdown was this stuff which came up, and most of the businesses has to shut down temporarily because of the lockdown impact. And then the sales were not happening. And then the ease out of the lockdown was also happening in certain phases, depending on to market. The Singapore would have a different way of doing a lockdown compared to what India was doing. And so was the situation in Indonesia. I would say as a Domino's, we were lucky, and normally I call myself the Spider-Man of this business because we were the neighborhood stores. So our stores were not part of malls, and because of that, we were not fully closed. There was a partial time limitation in terms of the working hours, which was actually good in terms of still able to operate the business. But at the same point, so as a business, your business was getting impacted with kind of the orders that used to come through. So people used to do a carry out as a channel, do a dining as a channel. So all that was a missed business opportunities. At the same time, when this happened and people were also forced to lock down, so the delivery comes as a bigger opportunity for any business. And Domino's, who has happened to globally known as a delivery business. So we said, okay, then here is a chance that we would capitalize on this part of the business, and we started focusing on. Over this period, even the people were losing jobs, so there was an economic tension also. So the spending power weakened up in terms of people who was thinking from a perspective of whether there is a job security or not. So they went more into a saving mode rather than spending mode. And Domino's is not in Indonesia is not your daily meal. Yeah, the daily meal is still nasi goreng, ayam goreng, and John would agree to that that bit. So having said that, so delivery when it comes, so delivery cannot happen just from one part. So of course we had the app. We had the support from the partners like aggregator partners who also focuses on the delivery part. And then the point was that is these channels enough? And that's the question was for every retail business also. So I, as a Domino's, we are known as a technology company delivering pizzas who have always been pioneer in adopting this stuff. So we thought that we should not leave any option open in terms of integrating what is available. Whether I have to go for integration of a chatbot. Now the question would come is why as a chatbot? So chatbot is if you would have to see from a perspective of how the businesses are run. So business happens where the market is, and the markets are driven by the footfalls. And these smart marketers are always known for bringing out these footfalls to your business. And that has been the case from the advertising on billboard to TV to internet and the phone calls. The call center business started to happen. Now, if you see, the lot of thing which was happening was the gaming online. The other was the chatting. So people were spending more time, and specifically Indonesia as a business. Their chat is one of the most adoption. So why we said why not to adopt that as also a key phase into our business and open a new channel. And we started to invest into newer channel creation. Partnerships were the another channel. So if I'm working with Grab and Gojek, why should I not work with the e-commerce companies? They are also doing into the deliveries, and if people are looking for deliveries for grocery or something else, why they cannot look for the same as a super aggregator being part to it. So all this was something that was helping us. At the same time, it is not going to recover what we were losing on the carry-out business front, dining business front, as well as the sentiment loss which was there in the market.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for that roundup, Mayank. It does summarize the sentiment of the market and couple of things that you talked about, expanding into new partnerships, new channels, and how prepared were you to sort of take on this in terms of in March versus January? Was this something that was already on plans for Domino's, or was it something which was accelerated because of the pandemic?
So I'll answer in two ways. One is how prepared is the Domino's. So Domino's, as I said, and I'll re-quote the statement of Patrick Doyle, who was the ex-CEO of Domino's in the US, and he said that Domino's is no more a pizza company; it's a technology company that sells pizza. So we were always much ahead in this game of technology compared to our competitors, and that's why the pressure is always on us to keep innovating, keep discovering the newer ways to how to engage your customers. So from that perspective, we already had a plan to open newer channels, and it's just that it escalated the speed in terms of so the things which were deprioritized became prioritized when it came to searching for a newer opportunity. But if you see from not just Domino's perspective, and you see from a retail perspective, this pandemic, what he has done is, and everyone would have been seeing those messages which were coming around that the the digital transformation within your company is not done by the digital chief digital officer or the chief technology officer. It was actually the coronavirus that brought this. So that was the key that enabled this digital transformation for every company, because then you don't need to come up with a business case and explain that this is what we should be spending and this is what we should be trying. The key at this moment was to try everything at a smaller scale. If it is working, then start scaling it up.
Great. And Yannick, if you would like to share your views on, how it changed, how COVID changed the retail sector for your company and companies that you see around you.
Yeah. I mean, for us especially, I would say we'll also come to that later during our customer journey, but we are not the typical retail company. Our process is quite long. We are partnering with clinics, so they have to go to a clinic, get a consultation there, do the scans, and then afterwards we will produce the treatment plan and so on. But really, the key part is obviously going to the clinic, which was in some, luckily we were operating in more than just one market, but in some market or in the most markets, it wasn't possible. So during that time, we obviously only had sales from that kind of from before, and then only could more or less build our top of the funnel and then try to kind of book them in after it changed. Back then, we also didn't launch our more e-commerce related product, which we, the Sonic toothbrush, which we are now doing, which would have also obviously had during the time, but it's kind of allowed us, I would say, also to focus a bit more on our processes, because obviously always have to scale quite fast as a startup, and then having a bit more time to build more robust processes, what was in that sense not so bad, but luckily afterwards our growth rates were actually pretty high. But I think in the end we probably came out of it stronger, but obviously it is kind of a dent in the growth rate per se. But and also going forward, we will in some markets the more, I would call it more developed markets in that sense, maybe not as much, but also countries like Thailand, Vietnam, where we are still selling more of a luxury product, and there, in terms of purchasing power, it will be noticeable also going forward, and so that's from our side.
So Yannick, considering the whole treatment cycle is pretty long, what kind of initiatives did you take to sort of be engaged with your already present customers during the pandemic, considering they were not able to go to the clinic or maybe somewhere? Any thoughts there, or any new processes or workflows that you created, to sort of engage during the pandemic?
I would say we started most of them already before, but then it was more on, okay, we need to do it a bit quicker. In terms of our main product, which is braces, we did, for instance, one of them is more on chat. Another one was, okay, how can we make our pre-assessment even better, and then get more people pre-assessed and give them more valuable feedback, and so that afterwards they are more inclined to come back even after some time. Do you want me to go already a bit more into detail here, or not so much?
I was actually thinking, the pandemic is actually a good time to put braces on, so that by the time it's over, you have an all-new smile. So it's a good opportunity for end customers, perhaps. Great, thanks for that overview, Yannick. And we'll move to Anton. And Anton has a few slides to present the scenario today.
So I use the slide to explain better about the market situation. So currently there are 3.5 million mom and pop stores, which is our market size. We call it Warung. In India, it's called, if I'm not mistaken, it's Kirana. In Philippines, it's Sharia. We call it Warung. So they distribute most of the consumer goods to Indonesian fellows, and basically the market are still unorganized here, as you can see it in the chart here. The FMCG accounts for most of the consumer goods. It's still unorganized. And what's interesting is this is a chart showing the the four kind of business, the micro business, small, medium, and corporate enterprise. Warung is on the left side. The GMV contribution last year actually almost similar to corporates here. While actually they hire more people, and also it came for many more number of enterprise compared to the others. But the setting is, although the potential are huge, the opportunity for grow for them is very low. So we rarely see a business here that move to the later stage even after several years. It's even harder to go to become corporates. And so basically we targeting the markets. Everything went well until pandemic came. So it's impacting also the warung owners, and it's impacting our business, but in a good way. Why? Because actually while during the pandemic, there are many workers, 2.8 this year, that lost their job, and it's also impacting the GDP growth projection, right? Some of people that got fired actually open the business and become entrepreneurs to become warung owners. That's why actually we got many new customers, and also for those business get impacted by the COVID. Actually, there are two kind of business that still survive. Those that sells food and basic supplies, and also the health related one. And some of the business, we educate them to basically pivot their business to give additional items to be sold. And also we teach them how to convert the transaction from offline to online. But the bad thing is most of the users are not ready. So only 13% are already ready for online transactions. It's a challenge for us. But when there is a bad news, there is a good news. This year, this is a report from Google, Temasek, and Bain in their Economy Southeast Asia report. This year alone, actually in Indonesia, there is additional 37% of new consumers. Some of them are actually in the grassroots community. So before pandemic, they doesn't understand online. Now they understand online, and most of them wants to continue using service. And those that already using the service, actually they stay longer. Before it's only 3 hours per day. Now they spend more than 4 hours per day, which is good news for online e-commerce service like us. And this is some of the use case in which we implement the Omni-Channel. So basically, using the communication tools providers such as Yellow Messenger, we managed to basically target engagement for specific users. We utilize WhatsApp, push notif, and many other channels basically to promote specific use case, and also for complaint handlings, and also actually so we explored several service talking with Haren team. Basically, we are experimenting with the bot so that users can get the order status and also inquiry for special promotion and something like that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that overview, Anton. And every business that is going through some or the other pandemic, some of the other negative impact, and also people are sort of recovering and coming out of it. And it's great to see all three companies here innovating and sort of being more customer-centric, especially during these times. So Anton, one question to you, like all the new customers that you've onboarded, you said that they were not very online friendly before. So
Yeah.
What were some of your challenges to onboard them? And how really did a virtual assistant or a chatbot help you onboard them faster?
Yeah. So before the pandemic, actually most of the acquisition process came from the offline traditional approach, in which the sales team approach their place and then try to acquire them as our users, right? And then after the pandemic, it's not possible because there is limitation of movement in our sales team, right? But the good thing is, so basically, since everybody is in the lockdown state, then they try to learn about using YouTube, Facebook, and then our online advertisement reach them, and then basically we can utilize outbound calls to make sure that the conversion runs smooth. If after install they doesn't understand, then we can teach them by using outbound calls. And also for the chatbot, actually it's still experiments because we are not sure whether it will be positive for the user or not. Kind of experiment that we did is basically something like to get the inquiry for information such as promotions and transaction status, like delivery status. Before they can only ask about that in our application or calling the customer service. Now it's a self-service bot that can reply with the transaction status in WhatsApp. And because most of the grassroots community use WhatsApp, then it's actually quite impactful.
Great, thanks for sharing that, Anton. My next question is to the pizza man here. It's pretty much lunchtime in India, and that's making me even more hungry. But before I get into the food part, since you mentioned that you're a tech company now delivering pizzas, I want you to probably tell the audience here today a little bit about how did you really weave in tech and marketing to sort of change the course of what pandemic was going to bring to Domino's. Any 2-3 instances of new processes or a change in workflow that you implemented during the past 6 to 7 months?
I think the only thing which is a catalyst between our technology and marketing is the data. If you are you're using the data and capturing the data using your technology tools, you would be able to drive marketing again by using the technology tools. So that has been the key for us. That so we are a very data-driven company in terms of finding out what user is preferring to buy, how much is his frequency, what has been his interest in, and how his interest has been changing. So from a UPT, which is unique purchase per transaction, to average basket size, to his frequency, all that data is what we keep collecting. And then when it comes to the marketing, what we do is, then again, for marketing, there is a cost. If you see from my business perspective, sitting at 145 stores in Indonesia and around more than 6 million active users. So then you would have to see from that perspective of will you be able to communicate all, or you would want to communicate to a specific set of audiences who are more inclined to make a purchase. Only then you would be more effective in your communication. So when that happens, so what we do is we again go back and do the collected data. We work on creating different algorithmic models to ensure which is the right propensity audiences to be sending the communication on a given day, given time, to ensure that the transaction they do. And then again we check basis the ROI of the incremental business, not the response. So even maybe if I am sending up messages to Anton, Vertika, and Janik, and Janik becomes the part of the control group, so he will not get the message. But if Janik responded or did a purchase, then it's not an incremental for me, because even if I would have not sent the message to you, you would have responded. So that's how we see what is the incremental business growth that is coming to us by driving those methods. Now, during this pandemic, what we were doing was we were trying to create several new such models depending on how the behavior of the customer was changing during this time. So the customer behavior changed a lot from what it used to be before pandemic and after pandemic. So if you see the ticket average basket purchase size start to reduce, and if I have to play an offer which is of a higher ticket size but the discount is high, it will not work. Right. So those kind of management in terms of first reading your data and then targeting the right audiences with the right communication and the right promo is what has helped me to sail through this period.
So one question here, like what percentage, and I don't know if you'll be able to share this, but what percentage of your sales are promo led versus complete full pricing? And
so during this pandemic period, almost around 40-50% is promo driven purchase that has been happening. And it's not just for us, it's for any business who is running. I think for some businesses, it has gone even more. and that is coming because of the pure fact which even Anton was also mentioning, that people lost their job. There was when the lockdown was imposed in Indonesia, almost 3 million people lost their job in the very next day. And with the loss of the job, it's not just it's impacting to the people who lost their job, it's also impacting the people who are actually knowing them in their surroundings. So the sentiment goes down. So, and that's where it impacts to the spending part. So if you want to run your business, you have to be discounting. And currently it's a crazy period. You would need to see the kind of discounting, which is, I would say it's a bloodbath that's happening in the market. All the competitors fighting for the best set of offers to drive the sale for their own business.
Does sound quite deadly, and we hope the sentiment and the reality really changes soon, world over. So fingers crossed for that. So thanks for sharing that overview, Mayank. And Yannick, I would like to understand, in terms of discounting or sort of getting more footfall. That is like a challenge for a lot of retailers. So do you share a similar challenge at Zenyum? And I wanted to understand, what sort of is responsible for bringing the footfall, and how have you been managing that, through an omni-commerce channel or through one channel?
Traditionally, right now, still we are quite like our majority of traffic comes from paid, which also means, okay, usually if there are any kind of promotions going on, then this is quite important for us as well, and has a big impact, even though you would argue, okay, for like a higher price product like our braces are, it doesn't have such a big effect, but it still has like kind of, at least mentally, quite a big effect. So then since this is such a big proportion, we are obviously trying, okay, now more organic, but also different kinds of interactions, whereas like traditionally typical use case would be you see an ad and you would come to our website or our onboarding tool, and from there on the website you kind of sign up and do like what we call the onboarding, which is mostly customer information, plus they send us the images of their teeth, so that we can then do a free pre-assessment and just check, okay, would you be suitable for our teeth or not? And kind of one of the biggest challenges is how to get those information so that we make it as easy as possible to the user. I mean, just to give you an idea, we started out by getting them via email. Now it's obviously from the website a lot easier, but then website, like the reliance on the website should like over time decrease in terms of our app. We also started to onboard people from our app now, and what we see, like chat as eventually like the third big platform in that sense, to like obviously, I mean, further down the funnel, obviously it moved already to chat, but onboarding of people didn't really on scale at least happen on chat. I wouldn't say it's not yet the case, but I mean that's what we are trying to get to. And I mean, in terms of like our main product in that sense, it's quite conversational, and there we are covering with chat at the moment basically a little bit of the research phase. So if they have more specific questions, they can ask there, and then we are capturing that information. And now we also started to kind of onboard our people who take care after the purchase happened, where it's more like customer care, just making sure. But like often you have like similar problems there, so this is a chance also to kind of automate a bit more. For other products, we just very recently, which is more e-commerce related, like the Sonic and so on, there we also have the research phase and the customer service, but we don't use at the actual purchase at the moment, but this is something which can become obviously quite interesting. And I would say in terms of conversions, I mean, if you compare the conversion which happened previously on chat, if manual, like that was the manual, then we reached that level already just by the pure automated part, but that doesn't include or nearly, but that doesn't include anyone who drops off or is like never even started our automated onboarding. So in terms of conversions, because it's like kind of should become a very good player. I think we will also go into it a little bit more later, but yeah.
Okay, sure. Anton, one question for you. You're known to be like a product guy. So how did you actually put product thinking into sort of solving for the new Warungs coming on board? What are some of the new discoveries that you had, if you may want to share that?
Yeah, so there is a shift of activities before the pandemic and after the pandemic in our product development team. So usually in our product team, when we try to experimenting with something, usually the focus is to increase a specific impact matrix, something like increasing the user number or increasing the transaction number without looking carefully at the unit of economics. Yeah, but after the pandemic, everything changed. We need to carefully look at the unit of economics. So now, when we try to experimenting on something new, the measurement is whether it will bring more revenue with less cost and something like this. And also, actually, with the shift of consumer behaviors, like we understand that Warung will get less customer, right? Because the user will cannot go outside. They tend to spend on online. Basically, in our product development team, we try to put the empathic mindset that the Warung owners or the users actually spend earning less money. Then in this way, in our initiative, basically we try to help to bring initiative that can help the Warung owners earn more money. Something like integration with e-commerce, and also we tried a specific use case with a bot actually with the home delivery. So in our WhatsApp solution, we tried a chatbot, but sadly it didn't work, and we shift to another experiments that utilize more on the existing e-commerce, and it went well.
Great. There are a lot of experiments that are happening with chatbots today. In your minds, like what you've seen in your company or other businesses, even outside of outside of Indonesia, where do you feel chatbots will be in the whole omni-channel commerce funnel? And what are the few must-haves according to you, or wishful haves according to you in that space?
Yeah, so basically in our space, the utilization of chatbots are on the two areas. The first one is on the customer service, right? In which we use Yellow Messenger platform to accepting complaints from WhatsApp, from emails, and something like that. And when there is a queue, the user doesn't want to take long to get response, right? They want to get immediate response, and with the help of platform in Yellow Messenger, actually we managed to implement quite simple chatbot for specific use case in which users wants to just to get information or just wants to get the status, so that we can prioritize the CS agents more on the hard cases. And also it will be good for the user because they don't need to wait long time, right? And the second use case is for transaction. This is tricky because actually for the use case, suppose that before we buy from the application or from the website. If we want to shift the behavior to the WhatsApp, at the moment, to be honest, actually the user experience is not yet good, to replace the application or the website. But we're still experimenting with that. And at the moment, the thing that helps the transaction is still on the customer service perspective. Something like just to get the inquiry of transaction status or delivery, something like that.
Great. So customer support, customer engagement, and in the future, perhaps complete commerce as well is what your outlook is, Anton. Great. And Mayank and Yannick, do you share the same sentiments, or what are your views there?
Yeah, also from my end, very similar view. So right now, I would say definitely not able to replace any of the more traditional platforms like app and websites, but and similar also use cases, onboarding, as well as customer service. Whereas if it comes to the bit more, trustworthy process of the sales process, part of the sales process, that obviously is a bit more difficult to replace it, and that will take a bit longer. But I mean, in order for us actually, at some point to provide the service to everyone at the same quality, it's not really possible by just adding more people, and therefore more and more needs to be replaced. And we are also relatively chat heavy, so yeah.
Great. And Mayank, in India, I see like there is no more a phone number for me to call Domino's on. It's only escalations that are taken care. So I've seen some experiences here in India personally where it's completely replaced. And what is your view on on chatbots and in general any big trends for omni-channel commerce?
So, see, from the perspective of future, I think their scope is huge. Even when I was running India, so I was taking care of the digital commerce for Domino's India. And that time I was the one who came up with VoiceBot, and we implemented VoiceBot, and the idea from my side was to replace the call center and save on the cost of human. And the bot would behave like something in a way that a user would say, oh, it's a sunny morning and I would want a margarita pizza with extra cheese and a Coke. And the bot would understand. And that kind of implementation, we actually implemented it, and we started on a trial on one of the stores. But it's a long journey. I mean, you cannot expect the recognition will happen like from a very first day, 100%. It will start from somewhere around 30%, and then slowly you have to go up. Same is with the chatbots also. But the problem which I see in this current scenario is the way chatbots are being implemented are the very basic kind of chatbots. So first is the obvious solution which everyone implements is for the customer care. And it's easier to manage those customer flows because you don't want to get engaged and waste their time, because there are normal FAQs that can be planted into the bot, and that keeps giving the response. Some of the chatbots like I've seen, like AirAsia, I mean, it's pathetic. So you want to actually get a solution, but you end up by getting a bot response, and that's where you tend to feel like what to do, and you feel restless. And that should not be idea for any of the organization who are trying to implement the chatbot. Their core goal should be to solve the problem and not solve the money problem of managing the human resource. At the same point, when I say for the e-commerce, so e-commerce is again a very big example where the chatbot implementation can be rightly done. But currently, most of the organization, what we try to do is we are trying to replicate the whole e-commerce way the e-commerce works, and trying to replicate the same scenario on the chatbot. It will never gonna work like that. So if you think of exploring an excuse for a Warung store on a chatbot and ask what do you have in store, imagine the kind of response that bot can throw you up, and then you would have to go through your scrolls to understand. So that is not the right implementation. I think there is requirement of marrying it up the AI and machine learning. That AI and machine learning is just not focused to only the NLP. It has to go beyond. So like product recommendation, that's one of the things which is you have a lot of data points from a consumer in terms of where you can do a lookalike metrics and understand the kind of behavior he has exerted in past, the lookalike customer part of which group, and then you throw up that this is what you would be interested in buying. It makes his journey shorter. Or it could be a next level one where you marry with the environmental data. So suppose the season, suppose what's the weather right now, and I would quote an example from India that the bot, before you even shoot out, it messages you, it's raining outside, do you want your samosa? It will be delivered in 5 minutes. That's the kind of experience a bot can give. And that is where the ultimate future is going to be. Currently, I think we are far away.
Absolutely. So, these are also areas that we work on constantly within our company. So a lot of our product managers believe that, worldwide all chatbots are, and how do we make them great again? And one of the core ways there is to properly do UX research, to sort of understand what all can be surfaced. Because it's not about surfacing everything, it's about using that intelligence and surfacing the right thing at the right time. So a lot of our time is actually going into that. And also in terms of the maturity of the businesses, it's not just about replacing the customer care, but it's actually about sort of getting better customer satisfaction and NPS. So I think, it's just like we're scratching the surface and there's a long way to go. So pretty excited to be building on that journey with all three of you and your companies. I do have some questions from the Q&A section, and if all the listeners, if you have any questions, please put it down in the chat box. So there's a question from Ryan San, and it says for Mayank and Janik, want to hear your opinion. How is the urgency looking like for you to have your own commerce channel, ordering and chatbot and commerce all in one, knowing that you already have Gojek and Grab as your channel partners? Should we also consider to create our own, which of course require huge investment and budget?
Sure. I think it's directed to me more with Gojek and Grab coming into the picture. So I think the question is very right. Every business, even if you think of going for an e-commerce route, you require an investment. But you need to think from a perspective, why do you need your own channel? So need your own channel is required if you have a personalized service that you want the customer to actually experience. So suppose today someone wants to happen to order Domino's pizza. I guarantee I'll give you in 30 minutes, but the Gojek and Grab doesn't guarantee you in 30 minutes. I ensure that it reaches warm to your door, but the Gojek and Grab doesn't ensure that it reaches warm to your door. I ensure the way it is carrying to your doorstep in a hot bag with a sealed container, but that's not being taken care by the partners. So one is as your own business, what you known for, what you own for, and if you're trying to build your own loyal customers, you have to give that kind of experience to show a distinguishedness that you own. And at the same point, if you are trying to convert the loyal customers, so you can have these platforms where also you can build a loyalty kind of system to retain them. The stickiness is the question when it comes to a platform like this, whether you will be able to make them sticky to your platform or not. So you can come up with gamifications, you can come up with loyalty points, but that is why it is required to have your app, because you can give the distinguished brand experience to your customer, which you will not be able to serve through an aggregator partner. Now coming back to the investment which is required, of course there is an investment which is required, but at the same point you need to do a lot of research. There are partners available in the market who are ready to work on a model which is not require a huge investment, but it can be an OpEx kind of model, which is per order revenue share. And maybe that could be your start. And if it grows big, then you can plan to have your own. That's how I would answer your question.
Okay. Yeah. Also from our end, I would say generally it's a bit because our biggest selling point is to offer basically that experience. So if you want to like offer something really specific, then I would say it definitely makes sense to have like the full kind of purchasing process on your side. For us, I mean, now our more e-commerce related products, we are also selling through other channels, but only to our own channel we can give more, we can add more value. So basically one of our kind of, what we decided more or less at the big, middle of the year, okay, how can we add value at every single touch point of the customer journey? So, once they give us their photos, for instance, can be, give them recommendations, or you need a little bit of whitening, or you need bracelets or whatever, and then every time basically they get in touch with us. And I think that's probably only possible if you're doing it yourself. If it's a product that is a bit more, as we also do a little bit, not as special and doesn't need that brand, like so much of the brand experience, then I guess it could make sense, even though I definitely agree with Mayank that there are options out there how you can make it relatively easy and fast and set it up. And then once you grow a bit bigger, you can always think about, okay, how you can build it yourself. But I would say it depends a lot also on the product.
Right, and from our experience, we actually at Yellow Messenger got about 250 brands live during this pandemic for selling directly to customers. And one of the core reasons was that when the pandemic started, all the large channels like Amazon, Flipkart, all of these were shut in India. And a lot of these small retailers, especially people who are selling perishables, they actually had to go and find their own channels to sell. Now, is that the nearby shop? Is it online? Is it their Facebook page? There were a lot of things that customers ideated on, and diving into AI and chatbots and this automation is, I think, more important for a bigger business than a company which is starting. So definitely, Ryan, I would say that you should ascertain the number of customers that you are catering to. Will automation really be a cost for you or be cost effective for you? And I think you should take it from there. And there are a lot of challenges in opening your own, delivery channel and direct to customer channel as well. So it's a very personal call coupled with the question of scale. But is it a necessity? And a lot of brands don't want to just depend on a lot of these partners and aggregators. So definitely we did see companies from Samsonite to Wildcraft to Puma to Sephora actually come on board during the pandemic. But these are still relatively larger brands. So if you could probably key in your company name, we could probably take that into perspective as well. Great. So, it's been a very, very candid chat, and I had actually 3 fireside questions for all 3 of you. But I think I'm just left with one question to ask all. And it's about, what do you professionally know today that would have benefited you if you knew it at the start of your career? So,
if I would answer it that if I would have been aware of what Indonesia is, I would have come here earlier. So maybe then they would not have any other Gojek and Grab. So that could be a case for my side. So Indonesia, I feel it has big opportunities. Had I came here earlier, I would have weighed a lot on these opportunities which were there.
Anton and Yannick, any?
Yeah. So I used to be a programmer, the technical guy. But I wish that I know how to develop good products before, because before actually my mindset is just to realize products or solution in the perspective of engineering, while actually we need to understand the problems to solve the problems and build solution only just to solve the problems. Actually, by that way, we can reduce the time taken to build something. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just like how long, I guess, like also especially when it comes to, because I'm also in product, and when it comes to seeing, okay, when it actually is successful at times, and when you are like a little bit impatient often, that, it needs to work now, I feel generally just giving it a bit more time to grow and to like work on it and then iteratively try to progress in like, communication with and collaboration with the users. That is definitely something, that I wasn't really aware of, but is, it also obviously gives you the chance to just like improve, but it often needs more time than expected.
Right. Well, it's all a journey. Had you not been in India, Mayank, you wouldn't have gone to Domino's Indonesia, and Anton, had you not looked at product the other way, you wouldn't know how to look at the product the other way, and same for Yannick. So great learnings, and thank you so much for being so candid about sharing your challenges and also the way you're looking at, finding solutions for the challenges you're facing. And it's been a great conversation, and I hope the next time we talk about omni-channel commerce, we would have faced COVID, we would have known a lot more. And I think that's when, again, we'll ask this question, maybe, what did you wish that you knew before COVID that you know now? And I think we'll have very interesting answers towards that. So thank you so much for your time and joining us. And thank you so much all the audience members for tuning in today, and see you soon.
Thank you, Vartika.
Thank you, Vartika. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.